Hello and welcome, this is Mousekinner, and we're back with some more of the Flashpoint DLC for BattleTech. At the moment, we have some work to do. We've come out of some missions here on this planet with a real beat-up company, a couple of mechs that need repairs, a lot of our pilots have injuries, and we have some work we want to do on other mechs as well, so it's best we get started. So we do need to repair this Vindicator, which is going to take 2 days. I am tempted to stop the work on the Shadowhawk right now and actually rework it, as I'm not sure how big of a fan I am of its current loadout. It's alright used as a scout mech, but I don't know if it has the kind of damage output we're really looking for. But let's take a look at some of the other mechs that we have here. So the Trebuchet, I think, is the main thing that I want to focus on. So let's start on that. This I'm for sure going to make a support mech, and ideally what we want to do is we want to turn this into our primary support mech. Now I'm going to have to use the store a bit here to fill it out, but for now we have one LRM-15. I think I am going to buy a second one, which I think was available. Yeah, we only have one available here, but I am going to go ahead and buy that. Fortunately, it's not very cheap, but we can afford it, so it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so we have the two LRM-15s now. We can effectively, and let's just go ahead and turn missile systems on so we can focus on what we want to. We are going to head and load this out with what would normally be its default loadout for a Trebuchet. Now, other than that, a Trebuchet typically has 3 medium lasers, which we may or may not do, because typically a Trebuchet has 2 tons of ammo, and in my experience, that is not enough. For now, I'm just going to stick this in the legs. We might put it somewhere else. But yeah, that's normally the loadout you have. Oh, saying that, though, I don't actually have any more LRM ammo, so I would have to go into the store and get some. So the question is, do we not worry about it? We just go with the normal 2 tons of ammo, grab those 3 medium lasers. We would have more damage output doing that, and then just accept that we could get more LRM ammo tonnage later and swap out the medium laser as needed. Although that would be something we would do obviously when we have time. Okay, so I think that's what I'm going to go with, just based off of what I have. I think putting the ammo in the legs is the safest place to put them, because the legs on this mech are fairly well armored. They're definitely more armored than the left and right torso are. I don't really want to put the ammo in the center torso, as people have in the past pointed out to me. Normally in the BattleTech tabletop game, that would be an alright move to do, because an ammo explosion anywhere is going to kill you. But the way that this game works is an ammo explosion only really takes out the section that the ammo is in, so it's not a fatal thing like it would be in the tabletop game. So in that case, if you put it in the center torso, you get an ammo crit, it would actually kill your mech. Whereas if you put it in, like, for example, the right torso, it would just kill the right torso, so it wouldn't be fatal. So that's a little bit of a difference in the way the tabletop game works versus the video game. I hope that made sense. But in any case, yeah, we're going to go ahead with this loadout. It is a default loadout for Trebuchet, and it is an effective loadout. The only thing you really have to worry about is heat efficiency if you're using all of the weapons, because you don't have any heat sinks. It can be rough, but it's a very high damage output mech when you need it. So that's what we're going to go with, and we'll confirm that. All right. So now that we have that done, and I do realize if I had reworked the Shadowhawk, I would have had more ammo to work with. So with that in mind, we may end up redoing this one. Okay. So the Vindicator. We already have 2 Vindicators. One is a good support mech. I don't think we want another support mech beyond that, because we technically have 2 backups, the Panther and the Vindicator, and I think those are, especially the Vindicator, is good enough as a backup for the Trebuchet. So I don't really feel like we need another one of those, so I think probably just another close-range brawling style would be fine. So let's see what we can do with that. Usually speaking, I would be looking at a large laser as far as... I mean, we do have quite a few energy weapon slots. So I don't have to do a big energy weapon like what we've done. We only have one missile slot, as far as I recall. Trying to check to make sure that's correct. It seems like it is. We have 2 support weapon slots, 1 missile slot, and a handful of energy weapon slots. I think 5 total. So if we go more medium laser focused, may be able to get more damage out of it. I guess I should look at our special systems. So we've got... Oh, this is free tonnage. Probably the best candidate for this right now would be the Shadowhawk. So if we have the room to jam that in somewhere, that'd be a good one to do. Rangefinder would be best for a scout that we use. It also does not take up any tonnage. So we have a couple modifications we may want to do. This one takes up tonnage, so it's a little bit less easy to recommend, unless I had that tonnage, which I really don't feel like I do with the trebuchet, which would be the one we'd want to put it in. All right, well, let's fit our jump jets for now. I'm going to stick them in the legs. Actually, let's split them up a little bit. We'll do that standard setup. And then as far as our weapons go, I want an SRM-6 for some good close-range firepower. I don't think I want to use this one just yet. Let's just use a standard SRM-6, because this is not really going to be one of our go-to choices, I don't think. Although it could potentially be better than our other Vindicator. Okay, and we're obviously going to need the ammo for that. So I'm just going to put in the center torso for now until we figure out what we're going to do. 1 ton's going to be fine with just one SRM-6. That's fine. All right, now our energy weapons. We could just do a bunch of medium lasers. That would probably be the most weight efficient thing, especially if we're going to use 5 slots worth. And then we could really up armor the thing and make it a really powerful close range brawler. What kind of damage would we be talking about with that? Well, we look at 125 with the medium lasers, and then the SRM-6 is 8 per, so 48 for that. So that's one of the more damaging mechs that we have. It wouldn't meet, I think, what our Griffin can do, but it's one of the better ones for sure. I would say this probably outpaces, not probably. I think it's safe to say it would outpace our other Vindicator. So this may be one of our primaries. And then we just up armor it. We could also put on that support weapon like a small laser, so we can do a little bit of close range work. We have some flamers, although not a lot. I'd say probably small laser is the safe bet, so we'll just go with that. Then that gives us... obviously we're going to need some heat sinks, because heat efficiency is quite bad. Put a couple in there, put a couple over here. I put some in the center torso. Heat efficiency is still kind of bad, huh? Well, Vindicators in general have pretty good armor. If we want it to be a close-range brawler, we want to have a decent amount of armor, though. As a matter of fact, normally, again, if we were talking about the tabletop game, the amount of armor that a Vindicator has, I don't know if you could really improve much more, but with this video game, they're allowed you to go quite a bit beyond what you're allowed to do in the tabletop game. So, do I want to go more armor, or do I want a little bit more heat efficiency? That is pretty bad heat efficiency. Now, if I took out the small laser, that would help. We could get a little bit more armor. I think that's probably the safer route. And then we grab maybe one more heat sink. Didn't really move the bar much, but every little bit helps. I mean, we could mathematically figure this out. So you've got 12 heat per medium laser, so you're talking 48 for the 4. Yeah, we're looking at 60, right? I hope my math is right on that. And as far as heat sinking goes, we get -3 per turn. I think you get some as default. It's not really specifically laid out here. No, that's not true. I could actually look at that. I forgot. So we have 51 heat sinking. So we know just with our medium lasers we're producing more than that. And then we get the other 12 from the SRM-6. Yeah. So my math was actually good on that one. So we're looking at 21 heat beyond what we can heat sink if we're not using the jump heat, which would tack on another 8, it looks like. Not great, but it is doable. You can play with that. And it's not bad damage output. I kind of like it. I mean, as we can see here, the firepower, quite good. 173 we're looking at. So, yeah. All right. I think that's pretty good. Obviously, we want to put the armor in, so that's going to be another 1.5 ton. All right. Well, it looks like the arms are maxed out. The rear armor is actually pretty decent. I'll give it a little bit of attention. I don't think we need to go any more with the center torso. Let's go up to, let's say 100 here. Go up to 90. 90. We're already at 90 here, so we still have a ton left. Let's go up to 100, which maxes out the legs. Let's go up to 100 here. And we'll go up to, let's say 120. Okay. We still have a little bit of room left. Might be able to max out the torso sections. Yeah, that would be it. Alternatively, we put more in our center torso. Yeah, let's do that. So we've got 105, 105, 130, 110, 100, 100. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's confirm that. It's probably going to take a while to get it done. Yeah, 11 days. This is a backup mech, though, so not really... well, I say it's a backup. We'll see. All right, so we've got the Shadowhawk being worked on, the Vindicator being worked on, both of our Vindicators being worked on, Trebuchet. So we're looking right now at a time frame 16 days. Now, if we were to redesign the Shadowhawk and then maybe readdress the Trebuchet a little bit, we would get back the 2 Vindicators. Now, the 2 Vindicators would give us a support mech to work with. We have the Panther as an absolute default if we need to. What would be our other mechs? So we'd have the Griffin. Out of curiosity, how much damage output does the Griffin have? 182. So it is slightly better than what that Vindicator can output. Although the heat efficiency is much better for the Griffin, because I did make an emphasis on that, as we do jump around with this mech quite a bit, and you add that in a little bit. I like to consistently attack with the Griffin, so pretty important to me. Okay, so yeah, we'd have the Griffin. We'd have, let's say we have the Vindicator that just needs, you know, basic repairs back. And we'd have the support Vindicator. Or alternatively, we have the Hunchback. So we do have a lineup together. It's not necessarily our most powerful lineup, but it is something. If we were to not use the Shadowhawk. As far as the Shadowhawk goes, I don't know if this damage number is going to be accurate, and I don't think it's going to tell me while I'm repairing it. But from what I remember, we have 3 LRM-5s, a large laser, and a small laser. Now, the small laser cannot be really used in conjunction with the LRM-5, so let's just ignore that. And we're talking about, it's 4 per missile for an LRM-5, so you're looking at 20 a piece. So there's 3 of them, that's 60. And we have the 40 from the large laser. So we're looking at 100 damage at range. What a Jenner can do is the same thing. It also has 100 damage. It's not at range, though. It's at close range. So the Shadowhawk has the same kind of damage output the Jenner does. It just has more utility to use that damage. We don't have to have a direct line of sight. We can do it at longer range. The problem comes in when we're closing that range and we're in that closer distance. Then it becomes problematic to really use the damage effectively. And I think we saw that a little bit with the Shadowhawk. Not sure which would be more heat efficient out of these two. I guess according to this, the Shadowhawk. The other one we have is we have this Jenner with the SRM-6s. I'm actually thinking about sending this down into storage. And the reason I would do that is that we can strip out the SRM-6s, because I'm actually thinking about changing the Shadowhawk and using its utility for close-range brawling. Because as we can see with the Griffin, we do a lot more damage output if we focus on that closer range damage. And usually speaking with a Scout, I am using the mobility to get me in close like that and be able to do the longer, the heavier damage in close. That is something we very easily do with the Shadowhawk, as it does have 3 missile slots. I could do 3 SRM-6s. No, not only that, they're damage upgraded SRM-6s. So we're talking about 60 damage apiece. I could do 3 of them. So we're talking about 180, so we're on par with what the Griffin can do. And I would still have an energy weapon slot to play with, so I could do that. Depends on where our heat efficiency is at. So I could really ramp up the damage that Shadowhawk can do quite significantly if I focus on just using SRMs, which I am a big fan of. I really like SRMs. They're my favorite weapon so far in this video game. So that is kind of where I'm leaning. This would take a long time for the work to be done, though, and that does push us out of having the Shadowhawk for a little while. When we come down to it, though, the only thing the Shadowhawk is giving us is a little bit of durability over our current scouts. Not that much in the way of damage. They can do about the same amount of damage. Our Jenners, we have 2 of them. We have a fire starter. All of those mechs can do equivalent damage to what the Shadowhawk can do. In the case of the Firestarter, probably more than that. And we could do 130 if we're in close with the Firestarter. So I think that the damage output is probably more important. In that one mission we were in, where we had to defend the bases and I barely won, if we had more damage output, maybe I could have punched through the opposition quicker. So in some of those time-critical missions, every little bit of damage is going to be important. And doing 100 damage versus 180 or 205, if I could swing that, that's a big difference. It could be potentially double. So that's why I'm just thinking of damage efficiency here. We lose a little bit of utility, but it's hard to argue with the damage. So yeah, I think we're going to do that. And it's a lot quicker for me to just take this Jenner and send it down to storage because it will strip everything out immediately. And I don't have to pay anything to do that. So, bye, Jenner. We'll miss you. We used you on that one mission, and I think you did all right. But yeah, I'm going to stop this work. We're going to get back the amount of money that we put into the repairs. We're going to go into refit. And this is where we could give the ammo that we gave the Shadowhawk to the Trebuchet, and we could have that heavier armament. Or, yeah, well, in theory, because you have a longer duration to use that heavier damage. Now, I haven't done the math on what tonnage we have to work with here, but I'm just going to go ahead and strip out everything but the small laser for now. So it looks like we have 13 tons to play with. We have to do some repairs. I might as well just hit these while we're at it. Okay. Let's switch to the missile systems because this is going to be where we're doing most of our work. So we do have 3 of these damage upgraded SRM-6s. So we do have to put 2 of them here. And where's the 3rd one go? Ah. Well, right there, that's the problem with this idea. We're not going to be able to do an SRM-6. We're going to have to settle for an SRM-4. Which does reduce the amount of damage we can do. But we don't have really a choice on that. And I think the SRMs are going to do what we need. We could go with an LRM instead, but the problem with that is it's a different ammo type, which makes us even more weight inefficient. Okay, so that is our current setup. And at that setup, we're looking at 172 damage. So that's pretty damn good. Now let's see, and we do have another energy weapon slot as well, which... what the hell? Let's put that in there. I'm not going to use the damaged laser because I'd like to put that in the Griffin if I can, if I could get away with it. I know I'm putting a lot on something that is happening here. I mean, potentially this could be our primary mech. We could switch from the Griffin to the Shadowhawk, and that wouldn't really be too much of a problem. Oh, while we're here, we were talking about putting in this, and it does fit nicely. The arm mod is going to weigh something, whereas that doesn't weigh anything. So we can fit that in the center torso, not really have to worry about it too much. We do have a couple heat sinks I got to strip out for some weight as well. I'll keep that in mind. But yeah, let's go ahead and grab this. We'll use the damaged medium laser, just in case this is the mech we're going to use as our primary. So we have 4 tons to work with. The heat efficiency is not necessarily great, but we could work with that. I mean, we do have 4 tons to play with. Now, we do have to consider ammo. So, what are we looking at ammo consumption here? So, for a ton of ammo, you get 100 shots with SRM. I hope I'm remembering that correctly. Yeah, 100 rounds. So, SRM-6s consume 6. So the two of these together is 12, plus the 4. We're looking at 16. Now, that doesn't, in my mind, that's not going to divide all that cleanly into 100. But we have to think about how many turns we can fire these SRMs and whether that's good enough. So clearly, we can't fire them for 10 turns. I don't think... Well, obviously, 1 ton isn't going to be enough. 2 tons, maybe. Let's see. So, I'll just put them in the legs for now. Until I figure out where they're going to go. But legs might be where we end up putting them. Alright, so... With that set up, we still have 2 tons to play with. So I can really up-armor this thing if I want to. And... we know we could do that 10 turns. We could do 10 turns of consistent firing. And we'd have 40 rounds left over. So, in theory, we could do 12 turns worth of firing with this setup. So, it's the equivalent of having like an autocannon with 12 shots. Let's say that. And we'd have a tiny bit of ammo left over. So, that's workable. We could go with 1 more ton just to be a little bit more confident in that. But... I also want to be more heat efficient than we are right now, because this is definitely less heat efficient than the Griffin is, and as we've seen with the Griffin, sometimes we struggle with heat efficiency with that, and certain planet types. You have to be prepared to be on any planet type. If you're in Tundra, obviously the heat is less of a concern. But if you're in the desert, and you're not very heat efficient, that kind of sucks. So... heat sinking 39, Alpha Strike 50. That's still not good enough in my mind. Yeah, let's grab 1 more. But then we're not very well armored. I really don't like this setup from that standpoint. Yeah, we're really getting good damage output at this point. We're at 202, which is better than what the Griffin is giving us, but we don't have the armor to feel confident with it. I could always remove the small laser. As a matter of fact, let's just remove that from the equation of how much heat we generate. So, we generate... We should also probably remove that from the equation of how much damage we do. Let's say we do 182, right? Because we do 202. That's still, I think, on par with what we're doing with the Griffin. Although, this is helping, obviously. So, if we take that out of mind, we've got 6 heat that generates. So we'd be down to 44, so it's a difference of 5. That's not terrible. So it'd be less heat efficient, but we could make up for it from punching, because this does a lot more punch damage than the Griffin does. As a matter of fact, there's 85 versus I think the Griffin does 70, something like that. So we can get away with the heat efficiency being a little worse on this mech. Yeah, alright, so I'm confident with that. So let's up-armor it. I'm not sure if it's going to be as well-armored as the Griffin is, because I think we up-armored that a little bit more. But 1 ton, that's not too bad. Rear armor, we have to worry about because the enemy could get our back. Let's go with 1 tick across the board. I'll go up to 100 in the legs. We'll max out the arms. I don't think there's a problem with that. I'd like at least 1 tick there. We'll go up to 110 here. Alright, so that's going to be it. So we got 110, 110, 125, 100, 100, 90, 90. Oh, I missed a click apparently. Alright, we'll put that back down then. 90, 90. Alright, well, it's something. The durability, the armor is going to be at 880. So we'll check that with the Griffin. But I like this setup. It's very high damage output. It may be our primary mech that maybe my pilot will actually use. But there we go. That's all set up. And on top of that, if we're not all that heat efficient, it actually preserves our ammo a little bit more too, so that's fine. Okay, so 880 versus 920. As I thought, we have a little bit more armor on the Griffin. As a matter of fact, it's probably that difference of that half ton. Having the small laser is probably that difference. You do get more damage with it, though, and if you're going to be punching, it makes it even more effective, because this, it has only 70 melee damage, whereas that has 80, and it can use a small laser, so that bumps it up to 105, which is pretty good, especially as at this weight class. You're not going to do much better than that. As a matter of fact, for sure, you're not going to do much better than that. All right, I think that's going to be all of the work that we have to do. I know that, that's not true. It's a little bit of inconvenience to do it this way, but we already know what we're going to do as far as the trebuchet goes. We're going to use the default loadout, but just give it a little bit more ammo than it typically has. So it can be a little bit more efficient in that regard. Not really sure where to put the last thing of ammo. We'll put it there, I guess. And then we're going to just do 2 medium lasers. That would, in theory, make it more heat efficient, too, but in reality, you're mostly just focused on what the LRM-15s are going to be doing. You're not really worried about the medium lasers too much. And these, by themselves, build up 14 heat, so we'll be fine. The two of them firing together, that's fine. So, yeah, there we go. We get a little bit more endurance with those LRM-15s, which is what we're looking for. All right, let's set that up. And we get the time. That'll take... All right, so now we have to figure out where we're going to go. There are no more contracts in this location, and there are no travel contracts I can take. All of the ones that were available were pirates. Pirates were the ones giving the contracts, and they hate me, so they're not going to accept me in doing the job. So we have to look at things. Now, I did a little peeking at the map, and I would like to go into, or out of, I guess I should say, neutral space. So having a look around, there's this location really close by. It's 12 days away, and we have to focus on who is active in any particular location that we're in. Now, we have to keep in mind, the Capellans don't really like me. So as a result of them not liking me, we are going to have reduction in job payouts and a store markup. That's the thing that's going to matter more to me. So whatever we find in these stores are going to be more expensive than they should be. So that is kind of the situation here. But also the max contract difficulty, apparently they will not hire me for anything at that set difficulty, so or higher than that set difficulty. So that's a little bit of a consideration as well. So who's active in here? We've got the pirates, we've got the Capellans, and we've got the House Merrick. Now, from my experience, if we enter into the space of a faction, oftentimes you're being hired to attack that faction. So more than likely, we'll get jobs from House Merrick to blow up the Capellans. So that's a concern. Now, if I jump over here, I notice something interesting here. We have Comstar is active here. And this is the first time I think I have seen them. And another thing that's interesting about Comstar is they don't have reputation. So you could do a mission against Comstar and it's fine. You're not going to hurt anybody's reputation if they're the enemy, because they don't have a reputation. The main concern, though, now that I see this, is that 1.5 skull difficulty cap, because this is a 2.5 skull area, which is really where we want to be. But if any jobs are being offered by the Capellans against Comstar, we won't be able to take that contract. So now that I know that, maybe that's not where we want to go. So obviously, a more ideal location would probably be a 2-skull place, like maybe Sunnywood here. In that case, we have the Urana Restoration, the Capellans themselves, the Canopians, who do like us, and the Tarians. I think that's the first time we're seeing them. So do I take a gamble going here and possibly not have any jobs? How long would it take me to get here? 20 days. That does give me more days to play around. I think I do eventually want to get over into House Merrick as well. So one of the reasons I wanted to go here, because House Merrick is involved here, and I want to kind of get House Merrick to like me, if at all possible. Fortunately, some of the places that are a little bit closer to House Merrick are rather difficult. We have Turin here. Yeah, I really want that mission. I think the more factions involved too, the better, or the more likely we're going to be able to do stuff. Like, for example, we already got the Federated Sons to like us here. So, and they are enemies of House Capellan, so... Oh, no, wait, no, it wasn't Davian, it was Steiner. My bad. That was who did the Flashpoint with us. So, I think I take the gamble. I want to go to this Comstar area and just see what we find. But I think we'll save that for the next video. This is very much an administrative thing here. I am going to need to look at what we want to do. So that was 12 days away. Definitely the 2 Vindicators should be primary. I don't think this 3rd Vindicator should at all be up there. So I think probably the Trebuchet should be the next priority. And then after that, the Shadowhawk. And the Vindicator here, this one, should be absolute dead last of what we do. There is some stuff that I could do, like upgrading the Griffin to have that one laser that's more accurate. But that's just not enough of an upgrade, and I have other things going on right now. I think we're better off just playing things out. So, in any case, we're going to wrap up here. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.